Swimming is quite obviously one of the top activities many of us will partake in over the holiday. And I don't mean to dampen the mood with what I'm about to say, but one of the hardest stories we have to report on here at News 4 is when somebody goes out to have some fun with family or friends and a drowning occurs. And because of how busy our waterways are this time of year, we unfortunately see an uptick in the calls that police and fire departments get about these tragic incidents, but they can be prevented. I want to bring in Megan Ferraro, who is the executive director of the ZAC Foundation. That's a nonprofit dedicated to water safety and drowning prevention. Megan, thanks for joining us live to talk about what I think is a delicate topic, but nevertheless one that we need to address. I can't think of many things that are as devastating as a beach day or a lake day turning into that sea of emergency lights and sirens, but unfortunately it does happen. What, in your opinion, are some of the dangerous things that create these situations?
Sure. So as we're headed into this holiday weekend celebrating our nation, we want parents and caregivers to think about water safety like they think about all elements of safety in their home and when they're out vacationing. Our environment is changing, and that's creating some dangerous conditions on beaches with rip currents occurring at a more frequent rate than historically. Backyard pools, people are visiting for 4th of July holiday celebrations, and it may be that a child goes unsupervised and slips into the water unnoticed. And so we want that constant active supervision anytime your young children are around water. If you're out in a boat this holiday weekend, we want a life jacket. If we're jumping off a boat or a dock, we're jumping in feet first. And we're doing our best to enjoy the water this holiday season, but safely.
Especially because a lot of the natural water in the DMV is not crystal clear water. So jumping in feet first is definitely a recommendation. So we hear it often. I will even admit I've said this. I'm a good swimmer. What do you say to somebody who says, I'm a good swimmer, I can handle it?
So being a great swimmer in the pool is awesome. It doesn't always translate to open water. And so if you find yourself in open water, you should only be swimming when a lifeguard is present and in front of that lifeguard chair out at a beach or a lake or a river. Only swimming with a lifeguard. If you find yourself caught in a rip current, we want you to flip onto your back to float until you're out of that rip current, and then to swim parallel to the shore and back to shore. So flip onto your back, calm yourself down, take a deep breath, float on your back until you're out of that rip current, and then swim back to shore. And if the lifeguard is there, they'll be able to come and help you.
And that's one of the things, Megan, that I think a lot of people may forget in the moment, because obviously there's a lot going on, but your body kind of, especially if you have a full breath, your body kind of floats, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's staying calm in that moment. And so remembering that flip, float, follow when you're out in open water and you find yourself in a rip current, calm yourself down and you will be able to get to safety, especially if you're swimming in a lifeguarded beach. And so, if you're thinking 3 safety messages this weekend, only swimming at a beach when a lifeguard is present, never taking your eyes off of your young children when they're around a backyard pool or a party this weekend, and wearing a life jacket if you're out on a boat.
So parents often hear just the general recommendation, watch your kids at all times at the pool. But what does good supervision actually look like to you, Megan?
Sure. So for those 1 to 4-year-olds who the highest rate of drowning is for those 1 to 4-year-olds, it's most often happening in backyard residential pools. And so for that group that they're not strong swimmers, you really need to be within arm's reach of your child, watching the water anytime they're in the water or near the water, talking to them when they get out of the water. I have 4 kids. I know if I can teach my 10-month-old that the cup of coffee is hot, I can teach my toddler not to go near the water without an adult. Just like they put their seatbelt on in the car, they hold my hand when we cross the street, and they put a helmet on when they get on their bike.
Quote of the day, if I can teach him that coffee is hot, I can teach him to stay away from the pool if mom and dad aren't around. Okay, Megan, thank you so much for your time. It's Megan Ferraro, Executive Director of the ZAC Foundation, joining us live on a Sunday evening. We certainly appreciate it.